Wire on Sunday. Just getting by the Philadelphia Eagles by the skin of their teeth, and certainly by a 2-point play, a 27-26 victory over the Eagles. This guy spent a lot of time covering the Ravens over the course of time. I think he even spent some time with the Redskins. He covers the Eagles full-time now, and I get to see him sometimes at Super Bowls and NFL Combines. He does it for the USA Today as well as the Eagles Wire, and you can follow his journey out on Twitter, and tens of thousands do, at Teron Davenport. That's T Davenport _NFL. Teron, welcome back to Baltimore, man. A difficult afternoon all the way around. I don't know the Ravens feel particularly wonderful about how they won, and I know the Eagles feel like they should have won, right?
Yeah, the Eagles definitely feel like they should have won. You look at how that play happened on Sunday, just the attempt at the 2-point conversion. All the players said that they were backing Harbaugh. Peterson's decision. Look at that, back in Ravens mode. That's what happens when I'm in Baltimore. See?
Too many crab cakes for you, Teron.
There you go. No, but they said that they were backing Peterson's decision to go for it. In this situation, they felt like it was necessary to go for the win. So, unfortunately, they fell short, and here we are. The Ravens are now set up for a nice matchup against the Steelers next week.
Any thoughts about what overtime would have looked like? It's an interesting thing to go for it on the road, and whatever your adage is, look, if they win, they win. It was a great decision. If they lose, it wasn't such a great decision, because if you feel like the extra point's a gimme, and it wasn't a gimme on a windy day. But, even in an overtime situation, I don't know that I was in love with the Ravens' prospects of winning that game. And I know for the Eagles, there's nothing at stake anymore. They're playing for pride at this point. So I don't know that it was a bad decision on Doug Peterson's part. But, certainly I didn't think there was any momentum on the side of the Ravens, right?
Well, I think the Eagles did have the momentum just because they were able to put together a drive and work their way down the field and score that touchdown. Of course, going into overtime, you have the Justin Tucker factor. And with him, really all you got to do is get the ball to the 40, 45-yard line, the opposing teams, and he's going to drill the field goal. You look at that 53-yarder he had earlier in the game. The guy, his leg is amazing, and the percentage of field goals that he makes from 50 or more, I think that was, his 10th or 11th field goal of 50 yards or more.
That may never be done again, by the way, right? It just may never be done again.
Tucker is amazing. It's watching him. I remember in practice, sometimes in training camp, in my time covering the Ravens, I saw him hit a 68-yarder, and his leg is second to none in the league. So that's a serious weapon when you're looking at just going into overtime.
All right, man, you've been up there in Philly eating those cheesesteaks up there and doing all that nonsense. What do you make of the Ravens from seeing them? Because I know you're still close to some of the guys on the team. I saw you in the locker room after the game, and you got some relationships in there as well. How many years were you around the Ravens, Teron?
It was only 2 years, but in that time, I established a good relationship with guys like Campanero, Steve Smith, Zadarius Smith. So it was definitely good catching up with those guys. And Steve Smith, that touchdown he had, man, what a play by the veteran receiver to make that catch. He referred to Willis Reed and Paul Pierce, coming back from the injury in the NBA Finals. I thought that was pretty funny, but it was good to be back around some of the guys that I really liked.
Well, and to see them play the way they played, let's just go to the decision that changed everything, which was Flacco's pick, and the decision by Marty Morningwig and the organization, and Harbaugh took blame, and Flacco took blame on the podium and again with me when I chatted with him afterward about the interception. But it's just amazing that they don't want to run the ball and sort of play the numbers when you have a 10-point lead and you're in the red zone to run the clock, milk the clock, and try to get into the end zone that way. It's a head scratcher. That's all I can say. And really, for the organization to be in peril on that last play, it was so unnecessary.
Yeah, I was confused as to why they threw the ball on that. It looked like Jordan Hicks, he was able to hide, so to speak, from Flacco. It seemed like he didn't see him. They had, I think it was a double post, and Hicks stepped in front of one of the guys and made the interception. When you have Dixon running the way he was, and then in addition to Terrence West, Terrence West looked really good. I'm not sure how the running game had been going for them throughout the season. But
Well, what
man,
running game, right? I mean, they just don't run the ball much. And, I mean, honestly, on Sunday, they didn't have a lot of plays. I mean, Philadelphia had the ball 11 and a half minutes in the third quarter, right? I mean, they played kind of keep away, but didn't score enough points to make it matter, right?
That's what the Eagles try to do, especially in the second half. They try to control the clock, whether it be by running the ball or the short passing game, the high percentage passing game. They do try to control the clock. So, yeah, you were right in seeing that. I'm really surprised that this Ravens team is not running the football more, because that's always been a John Harbaugh trademark. That's always been something that the Ravens kind of hold to their heart, and that's what has allowed them to be so strong late in the season and in the playoffs. That pack and play style of a team where they're able to run the ball effectively and also play the outstanding defense that they normally play. You didn't see either on Sunday, so I was really surprised by that.
I bet Matthews running the ball the way he did. Things aren't going well right now, Teron, right? I mean, it's nice that they lived another day and they're breathing, but I don't think it was anything anyone saw on the field on Sunday, especially sort of the meltdowns at the end of the game, that leads you to believe that they're going to win 2 games in a row on the road in the division up in Pittsburgh and in Cincinnati, which has been a house of horrors for them. They haven't won a road game since Jacksonville in Week 3. Week 3, I was wearing sandals, Teron.
Well, it's do or die for them in these last couple games. And I think this kind of win was the best type of win for them, and that if they were able to get that win in the win column, but it'll leave that nasty taste in their mouth like a loss. So I think it's really good for them to have that type of game that they got on Sunday going into the game against the Steelers. And let's face it, that's really the game of the season for these guys. If they don't win this game right here, it's going to be over for them. So they really have to go out and focus on the Steelers this week. And the Bengals game is only going to mean something if they win in Pittsburgh next week. So we'll see how that works out.
He is Teron Davenport. He covers all things Eagles for the Eagles Wire at USA Today as well. You can follow his journey up on Twitter at @TDavenport_NFL. And he covered the Ravens for a period of time. Now you're stuck with the Eagles. Give me a little Eagles wrap here. I didn't talk to you last week before the game. Obviously, Jimmy Schwartz and I have a special relationship over the years as well. And, that defense has gotten after it earlier in the year, been a little bit banged up. I know the O-line's been banged up. Didn't feel like Flacco had his way, certainly not with the Eagles defense. They didn't run a lot of plays. But for what they're trying to build there and where Peterson is, I can certainly say this. I see the Carson Wentz thing, but there are a lot of pieces missing there right now, right?
Yeah, defensively, Coach Schwartz needs corners that are going to challenge at the line of scrimmage. You saw Jalen Mills, number 31, the young corner. He relished the opportunity to go against Steve Smith Sr. as well as Mike Wallace. And for the most part, he played pretty well. And obviously that touchdown, there was a miscommunication. He had help over top. Jalen Watkins didn't get over soon enough to keep Smith from catching the touchdown pass. But guys like Jalen Mills, they need corners that are going to compete like that. So you'll see them go after a corner early in the draft. I think Sidney Jones out of Washington is a perfect match for them. But when you look at offensively, you need guys. Look at Mike Wallace. He caught that short pass, and he ran another 40 or more yards for a 55-yard gain. You need somebody who's going to do that on that Eagles offense. But at the same time, Wentz has had his issues as far as his accuracy, throwing guys open and hitting them on the run, giving them that opportunity to catch and run the way Flacco did to Mike Wallace. So there's a couple things needed. You also saw a team who was playing with their 5th right tackle. And I don't know about you, but if I'm a quarterback and my 5th right tackle was going against Elvis Dumerville, I'm not feeling too good about that matchup. But Isaac Seumalo was able to hold up. So, I mean, they're just in need of playmakers. That's what they need on that team. Someone who could be dynamic and really change the course of a game with one touch of the football.
It's been never a dull moment, right? I mean, you got on the beat there a couple of years ago, and I mean, all hell breaks loose with Chip. And when you went on the beat there was a belief that Chip was changing the face of football, and they were going to win, and all the goofy little signs and on the sidelines, and he could win games with Kevin Kolb or anybody else that you put in there. And then they had this crazy offseason with the quarterbacks and Bradford and still living down the all the Deshaun Jackson and the Shady McCoys and the guys they've given away. Now they're gonna obviously have a high draft pick here again. Are they happy with Peterson there? Are they happy with Jim Schwartz?
I think they're happy with Peterson, and at least from a player perspective, I know they are. They were a little upset. They felt challenged when he questioned their effort. But, I mean, hey, look, sometimes that's what you have to do to fire your guys up. Last week against the Redskins, they played really well. The effort was there against the Ravens on Sunday. So it's really just a matter of execution. And Peterson, I still think, is the excellent, good option for Carson Wentz. I think they have the right QB incubator. That's what I call it, because you got a former NFL quarterback in Peterson, a former one in Frank Wright. And then in DeFilippo, he played quarterback in college as well. So now you got guys who are all there, not to mention they're paying Chase Daniels $7 million to be a backup quarterback. So I think they're happy with Doug Peterson. They just have to, like I said, it goes back to the execution and getting players in there that are going to make the difference. Jim Schwartz, they're definitely happy with him, the swagger and the air of confidence that he's brought to that defense. And brought out of some of the guys like Brandon Graham and Jordan Hicks and Malcolm Jenkins, among others. I think they're happy with him also. It's about time that Peterson relinquishes the play calling duties, allows Frank Wright to call the plays, and he becomes more of an overseer. I think that will help. But I think he called a good game today. They found balance. 38 rushing attempts as compared to 48 passes. That's about as good as you could get on balance. So they just have to take this game and build upon it in these last two, which are going to be at home versus NFC East opponents. And they had to get that momentum going into the offseason and add in the right pieces, and I think they'll be in good shape.
Teron, you can say what you want, but Carson Wentz led 2 drives on the road in bad weather against at one point number 1 defense, or the Ravens, and gave his team a chance to win. I mean, I don't know. That's got to make Joe Douglas happy. That's got to make Howie Roseman. That's got to make the owner stand up. And I guess over the next 2 weeks, they're going to have a hell of a chance to play spoiler in their own division, right? And be a pain in the ass for somebody in Dallas or in New York, right?
Yeah, they definitely have the chance to play spoiler. And when you talk to the guys in the locker room, they'll tell you they're not worried about playing spoiler. They just want to go out and get wins and end the season on a positive note. These guys, I mean, let's face it, you got guys like Ryan Matthews, you got guys like Nolan Carroll, Leotis McKelvin. These guys are playing for an opportunity to be back on this team next year, and if not, they're playing for an opportunity to be somewhere. So you look at someone like Connor Barwin, who could be a casualty. These guys, that's what they're playing for. They're playing for pride, they're playing for their coach, and also they're trying to put their best play on film for whoever's going to pick them up next season.
He is Teron Davenport, covering all things Eagles for the Eagles Wire, and a member of the Pro Football Writers Association as well. We get to see him at Combines and Super Bowls, and for a little while covering the Ravens, he's now covering the Eagles up in Philadelphia. You can follow his journey at @TDavenport_NFL and out at the USA Today via the Eagles Wire. Last thing for you, Teron, you covered the Ravens for a period of time. I know you got some relationships there. Do you expect the Ravens to be playing on January 7th or 8th, Teron?
I really do think they'll be playing in the playoffs. I really do, and I think they can make a run. As long as they can get back to running the football and, get that play from Steve Smith, I think Terrell Suggs also, these are guys who are on the tail end of their career. I think that they could definitely make it to the playoffs. I expect them to win for sure against Pittsburgh next week. I think that's a victory for them. I'm not saying it's automatic, but they play the Steelers well. And, hey, at the end of the season, they're going to have to go out and pull one out against the Bengals, who could possibly, talking to Luke today, I didn't even realize that A.J. Green could play. But, if he plays that last game, I think that would definitely be a problem. But I think they could pull that one out, too.
Well, they have troubles in Cincinnati, but they've owned the Steelers lately, so gonna be a big Christmas day. We got all these games on Christmas Eve. We're gonna have some fun. Toronto, it was good seeing you on Sunday, man. I know we don't catch up as much as we used to, but we'll see you certainly at Houston, if not in Indianapolis, where we'll all be freezing together as we always do.
Oh, for sure. That's the yearly routine, man. So I'm looking forward to it. It was really great catching up with you as well. I was so happy to be back at M&T. And I appreciate you having me on.
Great to have you. I'm sorry I didn't grab you last week. Teron Davenport from USA Today and the Eagles Wire. You can follow him out on Twitter as well. You can find me in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear. The morning newspaper ships to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. That's powered up by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Last but never least, if there's breaking news, it happens first on the WNST Tech Service. You'll get it there first. If the Orioles do something, and I know they did a little something with the catcher last week, so we're talking to Alan McCallum about that. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, and Dennis Kolatzis will be here on Thursday night, getting you ready for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Terps. You might even talk a little Caps if he gets me on Thursday. We'll see. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. We're doing shows at Adams Jeep in Aberdeen on Tuesday night. We're going to have Mike Wallace next Tuesday night after the Steelers game as well. Go to our WNST.net as well as our social media to learn more. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me because I am a very available individual. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook Live, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. Tell all your friends about us during the holidays. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.